Welcome to part 2. No, I'm not at home, so I can have one of these while sitting down. I did do a part 2, but I sort of managed to waffle on and disappear at my own arse about 3/4 of the way through, so I thought, well, bollocks, I'll record it again. So I'm on the rest, I'm on the way back now. Note to self, you are not a woman. Do not try walking in hot weather with carrying a load of very heavy shopping bags. Yeah, not sex, what the hell, I'm allowed to be. Besides, I'm joking. Yeah, I was actually talking about, the last time I recorded this, about one of my favourite artists is doing a museum exhibition in Bristol, Banksy. Now, I come as a bit of a surprise to somebody that, that he's one of my favourite artists. He doesn't do a whole lot of monsters, does he? But the thing about Banksy's work is it says something. Right? Whether he wants to admit it or not, it does have a fucking meaning behind it. So they basically allowed him to take over, during the night, the whole of this museum. My favourite is actually the oil painting of the House of Commons with all the MPs as monkeys. That's excellent. Nice piece of work. Now, Banksy is Robert Gunningham, or the artist behind Banksy. There's more than one Banksy, I think. It's pretty obvious to say because there was a point where he did 5 graffitis on the side of the Palestine-Israeli wall, where it showed the blue sky through it, making a political point, as he does. But the same night in London, on the side of a record store, there was another Banksy appeared. Well, obviously, he can't be in 2 places at once unless he's got some sort of super secret, Thunderbirds type fucking jet or something. So, how do you do it? Well, it's quite simple. Now, Banksy stuff's all based on stencils, very complex stencils. So we write your own mudbox, don't I? Be interesting. Give Banksy mudbox and see what he'd do with it. Interesting thought. So it's a simple matter to make. Well, I'm saying simple, but if you've got the stencils, it's very simple to say to somebody, look, here's a photograph of how I'd like you to put them up, and then get them to do it. Now, if it's somebody who you've trusted and worked with for years, they can go and fly off to wherever, or they can go to London while you go and fly off to Palestine. Right? It's as simple as that. Right? So I think there's more than one Banksy, but there's one artist behind it. There's clearly one mind responsible for this work, and it's rather impressive. Some of the stuff he comes up with, because it really is, it turns everything on its head. The one thing I think me and Banksy agree on is the fact that the art world, it disappeared up its own arse a long time ago, right? And so up each other's arses about the slightest thing. That quite clearly you hear, a critic talking about. These are professional critics I'm talking about a piece of art, and they'll say, well, it has no soul, and you think, well, actually, to tell that it's got no soul, you've got to have one yourself. They've got people with zero talents, pulling work to bits that is obviously fantastic, whether it's from an artistic skill level or content, emotional content, and these people can make or break careers. Now there is a danger that the 3D world's going the same way. We are in danger of disappearing up our own arses. Take yourself a look around the boards. Pick anyone. Pick one of the large ones like CG Talk. And I'm not singling that out. This is right across the internet. Every board is the same. Alright. Look back 3 or 4 years ago, post 3 or 4 years ago, alright, and then look again at the ones today and compare them side by side. You'll see a vast difference. Suddenly everybody's disappeared up their own arse and thinks they're the next Michelangelo. And everybody feels as though they are qualified to talk on sort of the critique work, such as the great masters. And I've seen some stuff come out that's absolute bollocks. Like they all say that, I've heard, well, not saying they all, but I've heard people say before that Michelangelo's David is the greatest example of a human sculpt ever. Well, it is, but it's not anatomically perfect. If you stood it and had, it at ground level, you'd notice the proportions are all off. That was the genius of Michelangelo. He sculpted to be seen from a certain angle from below in a certain light. That's the genius, right? But I've seen all sorts of stuff. There's this goal at the moment to go for anatomical perfection, and as if that's going to equal artistic perfection. It doesn't. The two are not sort of the same. They are mutually exclusive as well. You can see art that hasn't, this crap anatomically, but actually is a powerful piece of artwork. Now, does that mean that the artwork's bad, or does it mean that we're in danger of disappearing our own records? You see people that look down on guys that do work with Poser. Granted, the majority of work that comes out of Poser is absolutely shite. but occasionally you see somebody who uses it to put their vision onto, the screen, and it's good, right? There's good pose work and bad pose work. Granted, the good pose work is about 0.00001%, but it's still there. And that's another idea of it. We all look down. I've done it, right? I still do it from time to time. So what I'm trying to say is, time to get out of living things out our own arses even and stop thinking we're fantastic. 3D, right? The whole CGI field is very new, right? The traditional art world will not take us seriously because we seem to think we're gods. We're not, right? The ability to create a creature does not make you a god. Otherwise, I'm freaking god on my own freaking planet. You know what I mean? I've made thousands of blasted things, but I don't take it seriously because I realise that in the grand scheme of life, it means zero, right? All it is entertainment. A very flash in the pan. Somebody sees one of my monsters, right? And they're like, "Oh, I like that. That's cool." Or they might say, "That's shy," but they've looked at it for maybe no more than 10 seconds, 30 seconds tops, right? And that's it. 30 seconds out of their life. That's it. It's not, a big thing. So we do need to have a bit of a check, of ourselves. Make sure we're not getting out of control and thinking that, we're God's gift when we're not. That covers us all, myself included. It's time to not take it so bloody seriously. And can we please stop these software wars? It's no different with Tool. Have you ever heard of Michelangelo and Da Vinci having a punch-up over which chisel was best for marble? No, he didn't. Why? Because they didn't fucking do it. Or if they did, it's not in the history books, right? It's a tool. That's it. It's a case of, does the tool do what you need it to do? Yes or no? Now, discussing features of tools, and if the tool behaves the way it should, that's great. But this, my tool's better than your tool, doesn't do any good. I've done myself in the past, you know what I mean? But sometimes you've got to try and make a point to people that when they're saying that, their particular application is the best thing to slice fucking bread, it can do everything, bar and making you dinner, they're actually talking a load of bollocks. Now, people don't normally take kindly to that. It's one of the reasons why I'm as popular among certain areas of the 3D community is AIDS, right? I know that's a sick joke, but there you go. I'm actually playing around at the moment. I've always seen it's been a 3-step process when I first started wanting to do 3D. One was the get good stage, right? Or get so unpassably good so that man on the street thinks I'm good, but it's a different thing, right? 2, practice a lot and get it so I can make the stuff look nice on a render. And 3 was the next stage, right, which is actually split in 2. 1 was start to produce works of art. Now, a good model is not a work of art. A work of art says something, right? There's also an idea for a short film I had when I was 18 that I want to do as well. And that's where I want to head. But the trouble is, my idea of art, a bit like, guys like Damien Hirst, and I hate mentioning that bloody name, but is somewhat controversial because I want to tackle the subjects nobody else will touch. I'm playing around at the moment. See, now this could very fast explode in my face, right? The female Jesus one I got away with because I pointed out that, a couple of things when I put it up, about a year or so ago. But I do want to do one that sort of brings attention more to these teenage suicides, because I think it's the art world could do more. You know what I mean? A lot of these kids do like looking at monsters and stuff, right? And fantasy art and sci-fi. So if we can use in some way just to basically, even if it's just for half a second, that they look at it to think, well, maybe it's not such a good fucking idea, then we've done something positive, right? But of course, you show a teenager hanging by the neck, right, from a pipe in his bedroom, that's in danger of causing a lot of shit, right? So I've got to think very carefully before I do a lot of this stuff, and I've got to be prepared for the backlash that there could be, and the backlash could be pretty severe. It might not be, it might be just a storm in the kitty cup, or people might say, well, so what? But I've got to take into account people's feelings as well, that some people may have lost sort of relatives through suicides. You've got to bear all this in mind. You've got to be responsible as an artist, not irresponsible. And you feel free to argue with me on that, but that's one thing I'm set on. We must be responsible as artists and as human beings. Right, let's see what time it is. Oh, it's nearly time. Let's see another house look. In there is my brother's stuff, right? Oh, lots of very old things. Man, if you see the one there, right? That stuff's all from Chinese tombs. Yes. Regular little Indiana Jones, my brother. Who actually buys them, he doesn't actually go and find the fucking things. He's got more sense. He'd kill me if he didn't do as I put that on it. But yeah, so that's the end of this one. I've put it in 2 parts. I'm absolutely fucking knackered. I've now got to walk back. My feet are very sore. I'm sweaty, and my hay fever starts up every time I go outside. So we'll see. Alright, I will see you next time. And I might start doing some models by then. I might not. I'm having a bit me time at the moment. You know what I mean? Especially as I need to bring some bloody work in. So if no work comes in, then that's, you know, I won't share my ideas with the community unless I've got money coming in. Simple as that. Because there's a lot of people making money in right up at the very top of the field, using workflows I came up with, and it would be nice if occasionally these people said, you know, there's a bit of work going, let's pass it Wayne's way, you know. So thank you. Right, anyway, on that fantasy thought that's never going to happen, I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.